There are legends round here, even if only in their own minds. Forgotten, but not dead. Some have tried to stop them, but they keep coming back. Coming to entertain you. They are the Crystal Lake Soldiers.
Welcome back to the Crystal Lake Soldiers podcast. My name's Isaiah, joined tonight by Sean and Ted. How are you guys doing this weekend?
Pretty good, man.
Not bad, pretty good.
Awesome. So we are nearing the end of January. Last week we took a look at movies that people generally don't care for or hate that we actually love and love to watch. So this week we're going to kind of do the opposite, where we're going to take a look at movies that are generally loved by the horror community, or even highly rated. We're going to be looking at the ones of those that we typically don't like or hate. So this will be interesting, because this ended up being very hard that I found, because there isn't many that I don't care for.
It's a strong word.
Right.
But it was a little harder than I thought it was going to be too, man.
Yeah, that's for sure. But that's going to be fun to kind of take a look at what we have, because we haven't discussed each other's lists. So we may have a few that are the same. We might even have completely opposite choices for what we have on our list. So yeah, so we'll be taking a look at that here shortly. We're going to start off with a little bit of news here. Just to kind of kick things off, we've talked a little bit about the Candyman remake that's being produced by Jordan Peele that's coming out June 12th of this year. There was confirmation of a returning character in this remake sequel, whatever the hell it is. Spiritual sequel is what they've called it.
Soft reboot probably is what it really is.
Probably. So obviously we've had the rumors that Tony Todd is supposedly coming back in the role as Candyman. But we did get confirmation for sure that the character of Helen Kyle is coming back.
Yeah, honestly, with her coming back and the rumors about Tony Todd, man, I have a little bit more faith in that it might not be a reboot and at least somewhat connected in some way. Maybe loosely, but, you know, I'm interested to see. It definitely raised my eyebrow. So.
Definitely, no, because that kind of came out of left field, because that definitely wasn't something that we were expecting. The character is supposed to be kind of a central focal point of this movie. Now, the thing with this is that Virginia Madsen, who played Helen Kyle in the original movie, is not coming back for this. So it is a different actor portraying the character. So it's going to be interesting to see where they're going to go with this movie as we're starting to learn more details as things are coming along. Because June's going to be coming up quickly, so obviously we're going to be expecting to see a trailer at some point here in the near future at some point. So I'm excited to kind of see what they're going to be giving us little tidbits of with that trailer, and just seeing what they're going to be doing with this.
Another decent movie, hopefully, to get into.
I'm hoping so, because we talked about how 2019 was kind of a little bit of a drag when it came to most movies. So hopefully this is going to be kind of a return to form, and hopefully you're going to have a good year, regarding horror movies. So we'll let you guys know more as we learn more, as things get released and whatnot, and more. I don't even think we've even seen any set photos or anything like that. So
no, I don't know any of outside of the two.
Yeah.
With the rumor and this now. So.
It seems like
I'd rather wait for a teaser anyway.
Right.
That's just me though.
Right.
Just get the hype going.
Yeah, exactly.
Nope. I agree. I like that they've kept this under wraps, kind of like how they've been keeping the new Saw movie under wraps. I mean, we don't even have a fucking name for the new Saw movie. All we know is it's a Saw
I did
sequel.
hear that Chris Rock said there might be a little comedy sprinkled in, but it's not a comedy movie. So at least he
that's good.
made sure people knew that. Yeah. And I saw a picture of him with this hat on. I don't know if it was a picture from Saw, but it definitely looked like it. So he looked serious. So for Chris Rock. So.
That's good. That's good. As long as they're going the correct way, not making it a comedy horror movie, then I'm all for it. Because we definitely don't need any more like scary movie type movies. Even though those are good and
those are good
doses.
Once in a while, man. Yeah,
but we don't need Saw to turn into that.
Yeah.
So as we get more information, we'll let you know. Should be interesting to see what kind of develops with that. Now, moving in a little bit of TV news. It was recently announced that CBS is developing a series based on the character of Clarice Starling from Silence of the Lambs. Now, what's interesting with this is that they're setting this a year after the events of Silence of the Lambs and kind of her getting back into the, whole government game, chasing bad guys, sexual predators, murderers, that kind of thing. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
That sounded interesting. I enjoyed Silence of the Lambs and a few of the other things. I don't know. Like the Hannibal TV series I never got into, and I wasn't a big fan of the movie Hannibal either, but outside of that I enjoyed stuff from there. I'm interested to see how dark they'll be with it. It could be good. I mean, it's Silence of the Lambs. If it has that tone, I'm definitely into it.
I don't know. I'm not too excited for it. It's just... Clarice without Hannibal Lecter doesn't seem right.
Right.
Because they have that dynamic going on, so I don't know. I mean, it could be good, but I'm not excited for it. I'll have to wait and see something from it, a trailer or clip or something.
I was just
and we don't know who's
like I said, could be interesting anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and we don't know. I mean, have they even announced who's going to be playing
Nothing
Clarice?
at all. That makes a big difference too, man. So
yeah.
And with this announcement, it brought everybody out of the woodwork too, because obviously we had the NBC Hannibal series, and that was canceled after the third season. Now everybody's trying to come out of the woodwork, trying to get that show revived now too, because originally that they were talking about trying to bring Clarice on in a future season to kind of continue that storyline there too. So that's also kind of interesting that people are trying to kick up dirt and try to get things going regarding this, because there's been a lot of fans over the years that have been trying to get that. Obviously nothing has happened at this point, and it's been 5 years since that's gone off the air, so that's just kind of another little side thing.
Slight revival of the whole thing of sorts. We'll see how it goes, I guess.
So we'll see where that goes. Another movie that was recently announced is Lamberto Bava is producing a new horror film that's kind of in the vein of Demons, or it could be possibly a take on Demons, but it's actually being directed by one of the stars from the original movie who played, I think the character's name was Rosemary.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I think that's who it was. So I'm excited for that because I love the Demons movies. And if it's kind of in the same vein with the same DNA as that movie is what they're kind of saying, that could be very,
he's
very,
involved
very good.
And she's involved, it could be great, man. So I'm up for anything new that sounds like, anything connected to demons. So
yeah.
If it's in the same vein as Demons, then it should be fun because Demons is so awesome.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe we need
a rocking soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's got a good soundtrack with it, it'll be that much better. So it's something to get excited about because, I love the first two for sure.
And I'd like to see a return to
well
that kind of just outrageous demon/zombie type shit going on. So
it will be good if done properly, and that's going to be the key thing because, with her directing this and... it could go either way. It could be really good. It could be a good homage to the original one, but it could end up being bad. But I don't think it will, especially if you've got Bava there kind of helping to create this thing.
That gave me some hope hearing his name involved. So.
Yeah.
Maybe some mentoring on his part, too, or whatever.
Exactly. So, good stuff with that. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Kind of going back into TV now for a little bit more news on a new kind of mini series. So the Travel Channel has a 6-part series coming out here on March 18th called True Terrors with Robert Englund. So this is going to be interesting because it's kind of telling a bunch of different stories. The kind of the description of it is it's based on different stories throughout our nation's history. And so Robert's obviously going to be kind of hosting it and kind of introducing each story. And it's going to be a bunch of different spine-tingling tales is how they put it.
What I always hope with things like this is it's not
and stuff like that.
Always the same old ones we've already heard. As long as it's new material and things we've never heard of, you know what I mean? Then
yeah, I agree.
That's what I was going to say before, like the Netflix thing with the haunted houses. It's kind of generic, but, you know, if you can come up with stuff we don't know about that's exciting and present it in the right way. And Robert Englund's definitely a good host. So.
No, he definitely does good. I mean, it's the proofs in even Freddy's Nightmares. I mean, it wasn't the greatest show, but you always looked forward to seeing him in the beginning, middle, and end of it doing his whole shtick, you know, with hosting that. And overall, I mean, Robert Englund's just a national treasure when it comes to horror. So this is the perfect choice to do a 6-part series like this. That is definitely coming out March 18th. That's when it starts. That's when it premieres. It'll be at 10 p.m. Eastern time on the Travel Channel. Now, taking a look at some trailers for upcoming movies. First off, on February 25th, coming to VOD, we have a Glenn Danzig movie called Verotica. This movie looks fucking weird.
Yes, it looked weird as shit, man. I didn't really know completely what to think, but because Danzig's involved, I'm going to give it a shot. He's a kind of a weird dude, and it looked like it was going down the satanic route, which he likes to dabble. You know, I don't know if he does personally or not, but, you know, as far as his persona and all that. So I'm interested to see it. It had that B-movie weird. Might be just fun to watch. But it was obviously, you know, on the cheap side. But that's not a bad thing necessarily to me. So.
Yeah.
Definitely weird, though.
Yeah, it's like it just seemed like the trailer was just kind of all over the place.
Yeah,
but
it didn't have much direction on it. But
no, it really didn't.
Looked like it was kind of together. So.
Yeah, it was kind of definitely one of those kind of what the fuck kind of.
Yeah, I've heard a little buzz about this before the trailer though, and you know, it's obviously because of his name attached to it. So
right,
we'll see. Maybe it's a good starting point for him to branch off into something besides music.
Yeah. No, definitely. So that, once again, is coming out February 25th on video on demand and then following on March 3rd on Blu Ray and DVD. So be on the lookout for that. If you've seen previews for it and it catches your interest, that's coming up here quickly. Now, on February 28th, we have a new movie starring Daniel Radcliffe and Samara Weaving called Guns Akimbo. This movie looks batshit crazy, and I love it so far from what I've seen.
Yes, it looks
awesome. A lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it looks like it's balls out crazy, man. A lot of fun, like Ted just said. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Like you guys were saying before we started recording, it kind of reminds you a little bit of Crank. Mix that with Gamer, like if Gamer would have been a good movie. Kind of the whole... you know, game or game show. I guess you could even throw in a little bit of Running Man if it was like a kind of a roided out, coked out Running Man. So,
just hope they don't come knocking at your door.
Yeah, no kidding. So that looks crazy. It looks nuts. It looks like something I would probably enjoy. So I'm looking forward to being able to check that out. So that's coming out February 28th. And then our final trailer that we looked at tonight is a new Vin Diesel movie called Bloodshot. It's based off of a graphic novel comic book series, and that's coming out March 13th of this year.
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty good too, man. So I don't know what else to say about it. It just looked like another good action movie. You know, Vin Diesel usually does pretty well in the action flicks. I like the whole idea behind him trying to heal and go get the people that killed him, but they're fucking with his head, and it's not even really the people that killed him. So
That's the aspect I like.
Yeah.
They keep rearranging his memory, saying, "This guy killed your wife," and then they're like, "Okay, got revenge on him," and they put him out, and then they redo his memory. Okay, now this guy's the one who killed your wife, and it's a cool concept.
Yeah, I agree. It looks good. I'm not big on Vin Diesel, but this movie looks pretty good, so I'm interested to check this out. Especially being based off of a comic series, I'm interested. So I definitely want to check this out at some point. So I don't know if I'll see it in the theater, but I definitely want to check it out at some point here. So good stuff. 3 very different movies.
Yeah, for sure.
that we kind of looked at. So, but all of them have interesting written all over them. So kind of moving in a little bit of Blu Ray news here. First off, we've got the Rabid remake that was made by the Soska sisters. That is being released via Scream Factory on February 4th. So you got your standard trailer, interviews, and audio commentary. There's not a whole lot from what I've seen with regards to what's going to be included with this. But be on the lookout for that if you've been wanting to see that, because that'll be released on February 4th. Now, kind of a little bit bigger news with regards to Blu-rays and DVDs in general. Universal Studios and Warner Brothers have entered a joint venture on Blu-ray and DVD production and distribution. Just as sales of discs have obviously gone down more recently because of obviously streaming becoming a huge, huge thing. So they've kind of entered in a joint venture to kind of help each other out with regards to helping to get their releases out there.
Yeah, I think it's
and
great.
So,
a good thing for physical media. We need more of people to partner up on things like this. And,
exactly.
Keep physical media going as long as we can.
That's something kind of way out there that you would have never thought you would ever see. These 2 rival companies trying to help each other out now. But it's a 10-year venture that they've signed on for with this. So we'll see what happens, because they're going to help with production and distribution in other countries that they have their stuff going to. So they're really working together in different ways with this. So I think it's great. I'm happy that it's 2 companies trying to keep this thing going as long as they possibly can.
They recognize the need for it. They wouldn't do it if they didn't think they were going to make some money. So
yeah, definitely. Now, Ted, I know that you have a little bit more Blu-ray news. What do you got for us tonight?
All right, first, Full Moon has released a new Blu-ray. It's called Panther Squad, a movie from the 80s, starring Sybil Danning. I don't know how they got the rights to this because they didn't produce it, but they have it on Blu-ray. You can buy now from fullmoondirect.com. And then we have more Shout Factory out-of-print stuff. 3 more movies are now gone. You cannot buy from them anymore. So if you want these movies, you better go to Amazon, pick them up, or wherever you buy your movies at. And these are Without Warning. That's the Jack Palance Alien movie. Howling 2 is no longer available, Shout Factory. And Leviathan is no longer available. That's the Peter Weller water monster movie. So those are completely gone from Shout Factory's site now.
Wow. So be on the lookout as quickly as possible locally to see if anybody still has them, but that's more of them just gone. Don't wait till the last minute like I did with multiple ones. So
at least you got New Year's Evil. You're good.
Yeah, at least I got that at least at a decent price considering. So good stuff. Thanks for the update on that. We will keep you guys in the loop as more of these titles end up being finally out of stock and stuff from Shout and any other Blu-ray news that seems to come up. We will let you guys know. So as we were talking about last week, we were talking about movies that people generally hate that we love. Like I said in the beginning, tonight we're taking a look at movies that people generally love that we may not necessarily hate, but may not be high on our list for movies that we would go to or even care about seeing. So this is going to be interesting. And I know Ted was chomping at the bit to go first, so let's go ahead and kick this off. Ted, what do you got?
All right. Well, first on my list is Friday the 13th Part 3. This is my least favorite movie of the Paramount era of the Friday films. It has a lame final girl, Chris. Her backstory with Jason doesn't make any sense. I know originally they wanted it to be like he raped her, but they cut that out, so now it makes no sense. Mm-hmm. It's not the actress's fault. I have nothing against the actress. It's just the way the character is. Characters are generally unlikable. Chris's love interest I don't like. You know, he's all like, well, I could have spent the weekend with this chick if I was Chris. If I was Chris, I would have been like, well, you can still go. I'm not your hoe. You know, so you have the stoner hippie couple basically, you know, coming off of Cheech and Chong. The only characters I really liked that are in the main bulk of the movie, you know, Shelley, Vera, mainly Vera. I think she should have been the final girl in my personal opinion, but and I like Ollie from the biker gang.
Okay.
That's basically it. The 3D gimmick I don't like either. It might have looked cool in the theaters, but now it's just...
I like the movie, but I don't care for the 3D gimmick.
Yeah, it's so obvious.
It's not the highest ranked one for me, but I definitely don't hate it necessarily.
Yeah. The 3D shots are so obvious. It's terrible when you're not watching it in 3D, and
yeah.
People in the franchise consider this like one of their favorites, if not their favorite, but it's basically one of my least favorites of the entire franchise. So
okay,
and then you have the fake.
I still like it, but when I was a kid, I enjoyed it a lot more. It was the mask thing for some reason. That shit meant something to me.
Yeah.
And then you had the fake Crazy Ralph, who's not Crazy Ralph, who has the rabbit's eye or whatever.
Yep.
It's just like, oh gosh, I didn't like this movie as much as a kid, and it still hasn't changed. I don't hate it, like we talked about. I don't hate it, but it's definitely one of my least favorites in the entire franchise.
Well, I'll go ahead and go. This is one that I always hear people raving over all the time, and I've just never, ever been able to get into it, is The Shining. It's always just, honestly, really kind of bored me. I've tried many times, dude, and I cannot get into the movie. I get what it's about. I get what's going on. And actually, the Dr. Sleep thing struck an interest in me, so I tried to rewatch it again, and I just can't do it, man. It's just one boring thing about a drunk, as far as I'm concerned.
Who beats his wife and child.
And I love some Jack Nicholson, man, but that's just definitely not my favorite movie, or Stanley Kubrick for that matter. So Shining, definitely.
All right, so my first one on my list is probably the most controversial one on my list, because it's a movie that I've watched. I don't necessarily hate it, but it's one that I find kind of boring and dull. But that would be The Exorcist for me. I've seen it a few times over the years, but overall I can't get into the movie, and it's not one that I go to even when I'm bored.
Yeah, I like that one. Part 2 is that for me. That's it.
Okay.
But Sean, Part 2 has Pizzazzu, the Locusts, and James Earl Jones.
I enjoy the first one, man. It's pretty good for me.
Yeah.
But
Exorcist 3 is probably the best.
Yeah, that's my favorite, man.
I like the third one, definitely.
George C. Scott.
Eerie ass tone to it for sure.
Yeah, first Exorcist. Just never really got into that one. I didn't really understand what the appeal of it was. I didn't find it scary, and I found it boring. So that's kind of mine. I don't hate it though. I definitely want to stress that I don't hate the movie.
Yeah, that's why I said at the beginning, hate's a strong word, man, because it's hard to say you hate something.
Right. All right, Ted, what do you got next?
All right, I guess I'll just say my next one will be Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. This is my least favorite of the entire franchise. You have a backstory that comes out of nowhere for Jason involving his family, this whole new mythology that was never once hinted at in the previous 8 movies. And now all of a sudden we have a dagger that only a Voorhees can kill Jason, the whole black heart, the beating heart, black heart, whatever, the body switching. The whole thing's just weird.
It's the most ridiculous
not,
story out of all of them they've done.
It is, and I think the only reason people give this movie love is just because of the gore. Yeah, and I'm like, the gore doesn't make a movie, though.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, there's little things I can, like, it's growing on me in little ways, but it's definitely... I like
the characters for the most part.
I mean, I'll just follow it with my next one since we're talking about the Fridays, which is the remake. I really can't stand the remake. But there's things about the remake I could pick apart that I like, too. Well, I might not have expressed that right. There's things about it I like, but it's, those two are at the bottom of the list of that franchise for me. Jason Goes to Hell and the remake.
Okay.
But I don't know. Something about the remake, man. I couldn't. Like, Jason himself carried himself well. I like Derek Mears' portrayal of him. But outside of that, I just could not get into it.
He was the best thing about the remake.
I could not get into if there was a story. The characters or any of it, so
okay.
At least Jason Goes to Hell had a story, even though it made no fucking sense and did not fit into anything.
Don't get me started on that freaking shaving scene. That was so bizarre. You're just like, what?
Yeah, that is a weird.
Oh gosh, the whole movie
went
just
farther than Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Right. God. Yeah,
Jason Goes to Hell is the gay Friday movie.
There you go. Yeah, I was originally thinking Jason Goes to Hell, but then at the same time, I don't know many people that actually like that movie, other than a few like diehard horror fans. So that's why I didn't pick that one, because it's not one that I generally hear a lot of love for.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention the remake till later. I just went with the trend. Because the remake, I think, is probably 50-50 with most of the horror community.
Yeah.
From the stuff I've heard for Jason Goes to Hell, it's been like 50-50. It's like split down the middle from the stuff that I've read online. People love it, people hate it.
So much, man. That might be why we feel that way.
Well,
maybe.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I've just run into people more that hate the movie than I have that actually like it. So, but that doesn't really say much. All right. Well, my next one, moving away from Friday the 13th, because I don't have any of them on my list. The Babadook. I never understood the love for this movie, because this is another one where I'm just like, this is kind of dumb.
I didn't put that on my list, but I saw that high on a lot of people's top lists, and I was surprised it was ranked so high. Like,
yeah, I don't get it.
I really just couldn't get into it, man. I was waiting for to be like kind of eerie and scary. It just never grabbed me like that at all. It was just really fucking boring.
I kept hearing about how scary this movie is, how scary it is, and it's not fucking scary. It's stupid as hell, and I think like this is one I actually hate, because I do not like this movie whatsoever. I probably will never watch it again.
I don't own it. I watched it on Netflix, I believe. Thankfully,
Mark's gonna be mad he missed this episode because he can't
defend his Babadook.
Take that, Mark. Yeah. I know you're listening.
How dare you go to the movies?
Right, exactly. So that's my second one. What do you got here, Ted?
Okay, it's my turn. All right, now this is a movie I absolutely hate. World War Z. I hate this freaking movie.
How did I forget that? I don't like that movie either, man.
Oh, man, that movie sucks. I saw it in the theater, and I was just sitting there, and I'm like, man, this is the stupidest zombie movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
I have a strong feeling that this movie is nothing like the book. I haven't read the book, and I have a feeling
it's not
different. Man.
It's
That's
really
what I was just getting ready to say. Is I enjoyed the book, especially the book previous to it, but yeah, it's its own entity, I guess you could say. A good,
I remember sitting in the theater.
Action movie for some folks, I guess, maybe.
Well, I will say I'm definitely odd man out here, because I actually did enjoy that movie. I mean, it's not one that I love or even necessarily like, but if I'm bored, I'll pop that fucker in. I don't care. I'll watch the unrated version. So,
I remember sitting in the theater with my sister watching this, and towards the end, they show like a boot with blood on it. She's like, ooh. And I was sitting there and I was thinking, you want ooh? I'll show you Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead.
There you go.
People getting ripped apart and you see everything. That's ooh, not this little blood on a boot. I'm like, jeez. I hated the movie. I hate it with every fiber of my being.
Well, I'll stick with that genre. I guess it's supposed to be part of it. 28 Days Later, man. I thought that.
Oh, wow.
Was kind of boring.
Okay.
Yeah, I could never really get in. I didn't mind the one after it, even though it was kind of schlocky, but that's what I enjoyed about it. But yeah, 28 Days Later, man. I don't know, it was odd to me. Just odd. I didn't, I'm kind of picky on the zombie thing anyways, so they seem more like, which I think, they're not presenting it. They're presenting it as a diseased thing. I don't know, man. Maybe it was the campaign, the advertising campaign, so I expected something different. Because I went to the theater for that one, and I was completely disappointed.
And I'm laughing, people who understand, I'm laughing because Mark's not here to defend that movie.
Oh, he likes that one too. I didn't know that. Well, I'm sorry for that one, Mark, I guess.
I guess. Well, this next one for my third pick on my list is one we've actually talked about a little bit already, so this isn't going to be a surprise to really anybody. But Blair Witch Project, fucking boring, boringest movie ever.
The Blair Witch argument.
And they they try to make this movie such a big thing, like it's first of its kind. But motherfucker, there was fucking Cannibal Holocaust before this. And if you want to look for inspiration for the Blair Witch Project, there's a BBC special called Ghost Watch that they did back in the early 90s that the creators of the Blair Witch Project supposedly actually watched and got the inspiration to make Blair Witch Project.
I thought maybe for a while that's what ruined Blair Witch, is because I actually was reading like production notes when they were making that, so I knew like it was just a movie, even though I don't know why most people didn't. But
I know. I don't understand how people thought it was real. If that was real, then they wouldn't be putting it in theaters. It would be in an FBI evidence locker or something.
If it had been released, it had been
That's how stupid people are. I was 14 when that movie came out, and even then I was using logic. I was like, this movie's not real, people. This wouldn't be released to the public.
I can't stand
if this was a real
case.
No, if this was a real case, the FBI isn't going to like release the footage to the public. They're going to be over that thing.
Like if they'd have snuck it somehow, that shit would have been pulled real fast.
Yeah. I don't hate the movie. I mean, the idea of just being lost in the woods is creepy enough, but yeah, people are stupid. That's all I have to say. I seem so mean right now, but how?
It's like, fuck. I'd have just left them all. I'd have just walked out them with my damn self.
I mean, when you see. When you watch back then, when you watch the news and people actually went to the town to hold candlelight vigils, you're like, oh my goodness, how embarrassing.
Yeah, I pass by that way every time I go out to the drive-in. Like, it's not far. Like, I could stop over there if I wanted to. I've never ever thought of it, though.
Need to go camping, Sean.
There you go. So, Blair Witch Project is my third pick. What do you got here, Ted?
The original When a Stranger Calls. The movie's boring. It is so boring. The first part of it is really cool and intense with Carol Kane as the babysitter. That should have been the whole movie.
Yeah, it really slows down
and then you just the kill. They start following the killer, and it's supposed to be like this character development, but it's just boring because he's not an interesting character.
Right.
I don't care. The first time I saw it, I was ready to fall asleep because it was not interesting at all. It was not engaging. It's just boring. And the sequel is so much better, which they made in the 90s, When a Stranger Calls Back. Mm-hmm. That's basically the plot of Halloween 2018, but Carol Kane is like helping another babysitter.
Yep.
Or another woman going through the same thing. And they got this, it's the same director. and everything. So that the sequel's just so much better. So yeah, When a Stranger Calls, the original is so stinking boring.
All right, good one.
I'm gonna go with an old school flick from the Universal days. I love all the Universal horror flicks except for this, and it's Creature from the Black Lagoon. I've always thought that one was just, I don't know why, man. It just, again, it's a boring factor for me. I just could never get into the whole idea behind it. So, yeah. And I love Universal monster movies, man. I just, for whatever reason. And they were all shown to me at a young age. Even then, I was like, who is this idiot? I don't know. It just never, shoot him already. Yeah.
I liked the Creature back in the day when I was a kid because I was into
he looks cool.
And stuff.
He looks cool. I like in Monster Squad. I love that version of him. Like he looks awesome in Monster Squad. It's the movie as a whole. I thought was kind of boring though.
I haven't sat down and watched the movie in so long, so I don't know how I would take it. I have the Blu Ray collection, but I haven't cracked it open to watch it yet. I haven't watched that one either.
I've thought I should give it a chance. It's been a long time since I watched it. This is kind of an opinion I formed growing up, so it's not something I frequent. So maybe it'd be different now. So I'll say I'll revisit that one just to find out.
Here's an interesting tidbit. The second movie, Revenge of the Creature, is the first movie Clint Eastwood acted in.
Cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He was bumbling scientist in the background holding a mouse. With I think he had one line, maybe not even that.
Okay.
But yeah.
Huh. Nice little tidbit. You learn something new every day. So, next one on my list, and this is going to the 90s here. Scream. I've never really cared for the Scream movies.
Yeah, I put the whole series on my list. I just wrote Scream series. I just could never get into it, man.
Another one that Mark loves, Scream 3, is in there. So
yeah, I'll say that's the one I've seen the least out of all of them for whatever reason. So that's something I thought was like some of these movies, man. Something I was thinking of when I was trying to make this list is some of the ones I think I hate. I'm like, maybe I should just try to watch these again because it's been at least 10 years since I've seen them. So
right,
I'm open-minded. I'm willing to give shit a second chance. Not that I changed my mind
sometimes,
much, but
yeah, nope, definitely not. So yeah, definitely Scream is up there for me for movies. I don't think I've watched the first Scream in probably 10 years, and yeah, I mean I've seen it maybe 3 or 4 times, but I've never cared for it, no matter which time I watched it. But so yeah, Scream for me. All right. Well, what do you got next, Ted?
Scream 2. You see, I'm the opposite. I'm entertained by Scream. I like Scream 3 and I liked Scream 4. I don't like Scream 2. It's too long. The killers, the reveal of the killers is lame. It's Billy's mom from the first movie and one of their college friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, okay, she wants revenge. Oh. It's just lame. They kill off Jamie Kennedy. He was the best character in that movie, and they kill him off midway through, so it's just like...
Yeah.
After they kill him off, the energy really leaves, and it's just like limping along. And yeah, Scream 2 sucks.
All right.
I think this came out around the same time as those. The Ring.
Yeah, that was on my list too.
Yeah. A lot of people seem to like that, man. That's one. And even the Japanese version, Ring, I wasn't big on. And I will say I've never seen any of the sequels or anything because the first one just ruined it for me. So,
okay.
But The Ring is definitely cool concept, I guess. It just, I don't know, man. It just wasn't scary at all to me. It was just, that's kind of how I felt a lot of horror coming out at that time. It's just, most of it, there were good ideas. It's just nothing was scary.
As if anybody at home would watch a VHS tape in 2003 when DVDs were the norm by that point.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe it was just a little late or something.
Maybe. Well, seeing as you took The Ring, that was actually my next one. I'll go with this one. Stephen King's It. I love Tim Curry as Pennywise, but as for the rest of it, I fucking didn't care for the miniseries. And I know my wife's not gonna like that answer.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that when I made this list. I forget about it. I've always found it one just big, long, boring ass thing.
Yeah,
I
agree.
I've never.
I mean, once again, Mark's not here
Mark.
to defend
Yeah.
That's what happens when you miss out on an episode, Mark.
We had 2 lists, Mark. One for when you showed up, one if you didn't.
Oh my god! But yeah, I've never really understood how people love this so much. I mean, it's cheesy. I mean, I guess if you're into cheesy,
you can definitely tell it was
good,
made for TV when it came out.
Right.
It feels like a Sunday night movie. Only no one's getting abused, and it's not a true story. It's just a Stephen King.
Yep. Exactly. So Stephen King's It. Definitely not one I care to watch unless my wife wants to watch it, and then I'm kind of stuck. All right, what do you got, Ted?
John Carpenter's Vampires. I don't really care for this one. James Woods is awesome, and that's about it. I can't get into the movie.
It's not my favorite.
A lot of people seem to love
flick. I don't hate it. They did one. I don't know if it was the second or third. It was Los Muertos or something. That one was kind of different, so I enjoyed. They had the female vampire. So that one, I think Bon Jovi was in that one too.
it's hard for me to get into vampires. John Carpenter, he's my favorite director, or one of my favorite directors, but that movie I just can't really get into.
Yeah.
I still bought it because I love you, John.
Right.
I'll bring another vampire one in. That seems widely loved in the horror community is Near Dark. I don't hate it, but it's very low on my list of vampire flicks. There's a few scenes in it I enjoy, but outside of the few scenes, the movie as a whole, I don't know, man. I just never saw what the huge appeal was.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I really do. It's like I feel bad. I hurt Ted's feelings.
You did.
I know. Yeah. I mean,
I think it's awesome.
The scene
Tim Thomerson's in it as the father.
That is cool. There's little things about it I like. I like the scene in the bar even. It's just outrageous.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
But some of the things about I don't know. I was like, man, these were some budget retarded ass vampires that did not know how to make it. But
yeah.
Stop traveling.
I love it all.
In this van. You can do better, guys. You need a leader.
The kid from Class of 1999's in it.
I love the people who are in it. It's got a great cast.
Yeah.
Man. That's what made me, when people told me, I was like, I gotta watch it. I just never fully enjoyed it as much as everyone else.
I love the final showdown when they're in the middle of the town. I love the movie. I think it's great. That's just me though.
All right. That's a good one. Well, in keeping with the theme here of hurting Mark's feelings, I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah. He watched it for a completely different girl than I enjoyed in it, and I still hate the movie, so
Yeah.
I can watch Jennifer Love Hewitt anywhere. So.
You have one really good chase scene in that movie, and that's it.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah,
what are you waiting for?
I hated that movie. Even when I saw it originally in the theaters, I just hated it from that moment on. So
it's one of the few times I left the drive-in early.
That's funny. That's funny. But honestly, even though I hate that movie, I will still watch that over Jason Goes to Hell. So
me too.
I disagree. I'd watch Jason Goes to Hell before that. I really hate that movie.
Oh man.
Are we talking watching Jason Goes to Hell as in part of a marathon, or just picking it off your shelf?
Picking it off the shelf.
Either.
Yeah, just picking it off the shelf. I'd rather pick that off the shelf. I actually own I Know What You Did Last Summer. I don't know why, but I do. So maybe my wife likes it.
I thought you said your wife liked it.
That's what I was just thinking. Maybe she likes it. I don't know.
Excuse me.
So it's in there.
I have some nostalgia for it. Because I remember one night my sister and I were hanging out and we rented a bunch of movies. That was one of them.
Yeah, so me and her went on a
but
me and her
it's
went on
not
a date in the movies when we saw it. So.
Oh, cool. But yeah, poor Mark.
Right. Oh well. That's what he gets for not being here. He chose his path, so he gets to walk it.
Walk the line.
What do you got next, Ed?
Hellraiser 3.
Okay.
I like the whole duality with Pinhead and Elliot being separated after what happened in Hellraiser 2, but the movie just falls flat for me. There's just
after the first two, man, it's so odd. It's very, I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
he becomes like a cackling Freddy Krueger type character too, making one-liners, and the nightclub massacre
version of Hellraiser.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Yeah, and it doesn't work for it. Not like it worked for Freddy.
I love that
in the
statue
80s.
though in the club in this room and all that. That thing's pretty badass looking. But
That was cool. Yeah. It's just like the new Cenobites, they suck, and they even make a point to mention it. He's like, they are a shadow of my former troops. I'm like, you've got to. I was about to say that you've got a Cenobite that shoots CDs. What are you thinking, Pinhead?
Right.
He's like, why did I even come to Earth?
So yeah, it's definitely low on my list, and people seem to really love it. And excuse me, I can see why. Yeah. But I'm not one of those people.
Okay.
I love the gothic the gothic tone that was set with the first two movies. And I wish they would have kept that up.
Yeah. I agree.
So I'll just say this. I like Hellraiser Bloodlines a lot more than Hellraiser 3.
Me too. And that's the one that seems to get a lot of hate is Bloodlines.
I know.
Alright, well next on my list is one that I don't know if everyone here likes, but it's definitely in the horror community always talked well about is Hostel. And I will say the whole series, man, because I haven't enjoyed any of those movies. And I did try to give each one a chance. But
I'm not an Eli Roth fan.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a huge fan of his. There's a few things, Cabin Fever is probably the best thing. But yeah, I just could never get into Hostel, man. It wasn't scary. It was just like, stop following women and you won't get yourself in trouble overseas.
Yeah.
That's the nice way of putting it. I was going to say the X-rated way, but that was nice.
Yeah. All right. That's a good one, yeah, because I've never really cared for the Hostel series either. But...
And it's not the torture porn thing, which is a weird name for stuff anyways. I don't know who came up with that name, but yeah, I just couldn't get into the whole concept at all. The kids playing soccer with the guy's head was kind of funny. But
yeah.
But that's it.
Agreed. Nice. That's a good one. Well, I've got two left, so my second to last one, because I thought of another one. So my second to last one here is The Orphan. Like, my wife absolutely loves that movie, and most people that I've heard love that movie.
That's one I can say I've never seen.
It was another one.
So.
Yeah.
But I know people always talk about it big time. Like, I've never really heard a bad thing about it. So.
It's just another one that I thought was kind of boring. It's kind of one of those... I guess you could say it's more like a slow burn type movie, which I love slow burn movies if they're done properly. I don't know if this one really was or not. It's just not for me. So I was bored most of the time. So it's just the one that I never really got into.
Once you watch the movie once and the twist is revealed, watching it again, there's just nothing there.
Right.
That's the problem with me. I enjoyed it the first time I watched it. And then I watched it a second time sometime later, and then I'm just like, I just don't care because there's, I know the mystery, and it's just not interesting. It's just like, so I just...
It's like episode 3 of Star Wars. You already know everything that's about to happen. So it just doesn't sound...
So, Orphan for me for my second to last movie. What do you got here, Ted?
All right, I got 3 left, so I'll just start with this one. Amityville 2. It seems to get a lot of love. A lot of people say it's better than the first one. I highly disagree. This movie,
I don't hate to, but I disagree with that for sure.
It feels so sleazy because of the incest thing. I just can't get past that.
I was gonna say, I feel like that is a weird. I don't know. That always made me uncomfortable when I first saw the movie.
Yeah.
I kind of gotten over it.
I was like 13 when I first saw the movie, and I was like, this is weird. Yeah. Why is this guy having sex with his sister?
Right.
And then she's like talking to the priest, and she's like, I think he wanted to hurt God. And I was like, what am I watching? I thought I was watching a haunted house movie or something. No, it's all this weird crap.
Yeah, I think they were trying to make it extra, I don't know, extra dark.
Well, they succeeded. The first one's so much better. I don't care what anybody says. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Nope.
I'm so excited to watch that movie because Burt Young's in it. He's Paulie from the Rocky movies, and he's like beating his wife and kids, and it's just like a miserable experience. I just
Yeah.
All right, next for me, I don't hate the series, but I never enjoyed the very first one, which was Saw.
Okay.
That was... It irritated me more than anything because I felt like the guy was kind of stupid. Which in the next movie, they show a guy breaking his ankle and getting out of it, which was the obvious fucking way to get out of it, the whole movie. I don't know, man. It just...
No, that happened in part 3.
All right, part 3. Okay.
The guy breaking,
which...
But I know what you're talking about, though.
That's why I just remember seeing that scene. I was like, finally, if somebody fucking has intelligence of how to get out of this stupid handcuffs. But... I don't know.
I mean, at the same time, though, I mean, you're kind of in a situation where you're trying to get to your family, and you're
it's a panic fucked up. You don't know how you're gonna act.
Yeah,
I agree with that because everybody thinks they know it, and you definitely fucking don't.
Yeah,
but, right.
I did think the ending was cool when you find out the body laying there the whole time was the guy, but I don't hate it. Like, hate's definitely too strong a word for it, but it's not.
Right.
It's my least favorite of the series, probably, outside of maybe, which I haven't seen a couple of the later ones. I don't know. I'll just say it's my least favorite. So of that series, for sure.
Oh, I would have never expected that one because I think the first one's
I had
the
to
best.
put it on.
I
wasn't thinking it, and then I saw it. I was like, you know what? I never cared for the first one. But it sets up. Well, I mean, you couldn't have any of that. So the second one I thought was freaking great. Like, it was just wild and crazy. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, the second one was pretty good. All right. Well, my last one on my list is a John Carpenter classic, Village of the Damned. I've never really cared for that one. I don't know why. Like, I'll watch it if it's on, but it's not. If I were to pick out of any of the Carpenter movies, it's not any of the ones I would go to. It would be the very last one.
I think I remember you saying that many moons ago. I enjoy that movie.
I like that movie too.
So it's more like a TV kind of a horror flick, but I still enjoy it. I don't care.
Yeah,
it's the only movie in existence that has Luke Skywalker, Superman, and a Vulcan. So
yeah,
I never thought of it.
Directed by John Carpenter.
I enjoy the original as well, but I thought this was like one of it's not every day they get a good update, but that was a good update. So
yeah.
People like to say Carpenter had a horrible slump in the 90s. That's only with box office returns. I think he made a lot of solid movies in that decade.
Yeah, I agree.
Also.
I agree.
Sometimes they go too much by the numbers.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, so Village of the Damned for me is my last one on my list. What do you got, Ted?
All right, I'm going to go with Retro Puppet Master. It seems that people in recent years have loved this movie, and it's boring.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a prequel to the prequel. It says with a young Andre Toulon, but it's just boring.
That's not my favorite.
The mummies that are the enemies are lame. You got horrible dubbing over the actors who couldn't speak English because they filmed it in Romania. I honestly think the only reason this movie got any love in recent years is because Greg Sestero, who's famous for being in the room and writing The Disaster Artist, he plays the young Andre Toulon. He's the star of the movie, and I think that's the only reason why.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. But the movie's boring. It's one of the worst in the Puppet Master franchise, in my opinion. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right, this is another one that most people love that I felt... I don't know how to explain it, man, but I'll just say what the movie is before I keep trying to explain this. But it's Army of Darkness.
Oh.
Okay.
The first two I freaking love, man. They are just... The first one is so... I don't know. The first one to me is actually scary, and the second one was just nuts. But, you know, a little bit of the laughter, it just felt like 3 just took such a sharp turn the other way, man. I don't know. I just could never get into that aspect of it. But Ash versus the Evil Dead, I freaking love. Which has a lot of the aspects, I feel, of from Army of Darkness in it. So it's kind of a weird thing for me. It's just the
tone shift was big.
It was just, it's not at all.
I love that movie still, but it is a different. Yeah. I love that movie still, but the tone did change, big time.
And it's never really going back to that since. Which, like I said, I enjoy now, but at the time I was like, "What the fuck did you do to my movies?"
All right, Ted, what do you got next?
All right, last on my list is Howling 2. People they say they have a lot of fun with it. I just don't have fun with it.
So fucking boring.
I think people... It is. I think people only like it because Sybil Danny's... Yeah, she's just constantly taking her top off. I think that's the only reason why I like it.
Yeah, I can never get into that.
Christopher Lee is completely wasted in this movie. Unless I'm missing something, you have this actress who's supposed to be Dee Wallace buried underground. And the movie keeps cutting back to her, screaming in the coffin, trying to get out.
And it was so odd and different compared to the first one. It was that was another one. I was like, what the fuck are you doing to this franchise?
Yeah, it never got resolved, it seems like. So I don't see, I just don't see what people see in it other than Sybil Danny getting nude constantly. Mm-hmm. Howling 3 for me, like I said last week, I freaking love Howling 3. Howling 2, just no.
Okay.
All
right, Sean, what do you got?
That's all the ones I really know that people love. I do got a couple here that I know I hate, though, which is Halloween Resurrection. I can't even believe I said it, but... because I promised I wouldn't. I really fucking hate that movie, so I just wanted to mention it so I could say I hate it. And I'll throw in an honorable mention for some mainstream. Boys in the Hood is not horror, obviously, but I think that movie sucks. It's just a glorified look at the whole aspect of it. It is not a realistic look at all whatsoever. And I think, honestly, it just got a lot of hype because of Cuba Gooding and Ice Cube. It's not the movie itself. There's much better fucking movies that represent that, like Menace to Society and a few others. And The Matrix. I've never been into that whole thing. Cool effects. Neat story. But terrible. It gets worse with each movie to me. So I could never get
I can never get into that either, man.
So those are my honorable, if you're dishonorable mentions. There you
go. Nice touch there. So we had a pretty good list of movies. Actually, there wasn't many that were overlapping, which was kind of nice. Other than a couple, but yeah. So we'd love to hear from you guys on any movies maybe that you guys love or hate. We want to just hear from you guys and see what you guys enjoy watching or what you guys don't enjoy watching. As always, you can reach out to us through our Instagram, our Twitter, or Facebook. All of them are at CLS Podcast. Just kind of a reminder, next week's episode will be focused on the Royal Rumble, which is happening next Sunday. So that episode will actually be coming out Sunday morning. So it'll be kind of us kind of going over the card for Royal Rumble, discussing our predictions, who do we think that is going to win, and talking about our favorite Rumble matches. So that's coming next week. And then the following week, we'll be talking Luther the Geek and reviewing that movie, a Troma classic. Even though it wasn't made by Troma, they produced it.
But they keep it
so
alive.
It's a great movie. Yes, exactly. So look for that the week after that. But we appreciate you guys checking out tonight's episode. And as Ted always says,
slay you next week.
Thanks for joining us today for the CLS Podcast. Check us out at www.clspodcast.com or join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag CLS Podcast. Until next time, stay safe, campers.